Dracula, Chapter 6. Mina Murray's Journal. 24th July, Whitby. Lucy met me at the station, looking sweeter and lovelier than ever, and we drove up to the house at the Crescent in which they have rooms. This is a lovely place. The little river, the Esk, runs through a deep valley, which broadens out as it comes near the harbor. A great viaduct runs across, with high piers through which the view seems somehow further away than it really is. The valley is beautifully green, and it is so steep that when you are on the high land on either side, you look right across it, unless you are near enough to see down. The houses of Old Town, the side away from us, are all red-roofed, and seem piled up on one over the other anyhow, like the pictures we see of Nuremberg. Right over the town is the ruin of Whitby Abbey, which was sacked by the Danes, and which is the scene of part of Marmion, where the girl was built up in the wall. It is a most noble ruin, of immense size, and full of beautiful and romantic bits. There is a legend that a white lady is seen in one of the windows. Between it and the town there is another church, the parish one, round which is a big graveyard, all full of tombstones. This is to my mind the nicest spot in Whitby, for it lies right over the town, and has a full view of the harbor and all up the bay to where the headland called Kettleness stretches out into the sea. It descends so steeply over the harbor that part of the bank has fallen away, and some of the graves has been destroyed. In one place, part of the stonework of the graves stretches out over the sandy pathway far below. There are walks, which seats beside them, through the churchyard, and people go and sit there all day long, looking at the beautiful view and enjoying the breeze. I shall come and sit here very often myself and work. Indeed, I am writing now, with my book on my knee, and listening to the talk of 3 old men who are sitting beside me. They seem to do nothing all day but sit up here and talk. The harbor lies down below me, with, on the far side, one long granite wall stretching out into the sea, with a curved outward at the end of it, in the middle of which is a lighthouse. A heavy sea-wall runs along outside of it. On the near side, the sea-wall makes an elbow crooked inversely, and its end, too, has a lighthouse. Between the 2 piers there is a narrow opening in the harbor, which then suddenly widens. It is nice at high water, but when the tide is out it shoals away to nothing, and there is merely the stream of the Esk, running between banks of sand, with rocks here and there. Outside the harbor on this side there rises for about half a mile a great reef, the sharp edge of which runs straight out from behind the south lighthouse. At the end of it is a buoy with a bell, which swings in bad weather, and sends in a mournful sound on the wind. They have a legend here that when a ship is lost, bells are heard out to sea. I must ask the old man about this. He is coming this way. He is a funny old man. He must be awfully old, for his face is all gnarled and twisted like the bark of a tree. He tells me that he is nearly 100, and that he was a sailor in Greenland fishing fleet when the Waterloo was fought. He is, I'm afraid, a very skeptical person, for when I asked him about the bells at sea and the white lady at the Abbey, he said very brusquely, "I wouldn't fash mysel' about them, miss. Them things be all wore out. Mind, I don't say that they never was, but I do say that they wasn't in my time. They be all very well for comers and trippers and the like, but not for a nice young lady like you. Them feet folks from York and Leeds that be always eatin' cured herrings and drinking tea, and looking out to buy cheap jet would creed aught. I wonder mysel' who'd be bothered tellin' lies to them, even the newspapers, which is full of fool talk. I thought he would be a good person to learn interesting things from, so I asked him if he would mind telling me something about the whale fishing in the old days. He was just settling himself to begin when the clock struck 6, whereupon he labored to get up, and said, "I must gang agin' onwards home now, miss. My granddaughter doesn't like to be kept waitin' when the tea is ready, for it takes me time to crammel old Boone in the grease." for there be many of 'em, and miss, I lack belly timber sairly by the clock." He hobbled away, and I could see him hurrying, as well as he could, down the steps. The steps are a great feature on the place. They lead from the town up to the church. There are hundreds of them, I do not know how many, and they wind up in a delicate curve. The slope is so gentle that a horse could easily walk up and down them. I think they must originally have something to do with the abbey. I shall go home too. Lucy went out visiting with her mother, and as they were only duty calls, I did not go. They will be home by this. 1st August. I came up here an hour ago with Lucy, and we had a most interesting talk with my old friend and the 2 others who always come and join him. He is evidently the Sir Oracle of them, and I should think must have been in his time a most dictatorial person. He will not admit anything, and down-faces everybody. If he can't argue them, he bullies them, and then takes their silence for agreement with his views. Lucy was looking sweetly pretty in her white lawn frock. She has got a beautiful color since she has been here. I noticed that the old man did not lose any time in coming up and sitting near her when we sat down. She is so sweet with old people. I think they all fell in love with her on the spot. Even my old man succumbed and did not contradict her, but gave me double share instead. I got him on the subject of legends, and he went off at once in a sort of sermon. I must try to remember it and put it down. It be a fool talk, lock, stock, and barrel. That what it be, and naught else. These bands and wafts and bow ghosts and burguests and bogles and all on them is only fit to set bairns and dizzy women a belderin'. They be naught but airblebs. They and all grims and signs and warnin's be all invented by parsons and ilsome buke bodies and railway touters to skeer and schooner halflins, and to get folks to do something that they don't other inclined to do. It makes me ireful to think of them. Why, it's them that, not content with printing lies on paper and preaching them out of pulpits, does want to be cutting them on the tombstones. Look here all around you, and what art you will, all them steens holding up their heads as well as they can out of their pride. As a cant, simply tumbling down with the weight of those lies wrote on 'em. Here lies the body, or sacred to the memory, wrote on all of them. And yet in nigh half of them there ain't been no bodies at all, and the memories of them been carrot and pinch and snuffed about, much less sacred. Lies, all of them, nothing but lies of one kind or another. My gog, it'll be a square scouterment in the day of judgment when they come tumbling in their death sarks, all jooped together and trying to drag their tombstones with them to prove how good they was, some of them trembling and dithering with their hands that doesn't and slipping iron in the sea that they can't even keep their group of them. I could see from the old fellow's self-satisfied air and the way in which he looked round for the approval of his cronies that he was showing off, so I put in a word to keep him going. "Oh, Mr. Swales, you can't be serious. Surely these tombstones are not all wrong." "Yablins! There be a poorish few not wrong, savin' where they make out the people too good, for there be folk that do think a balm bowl be like the sea, if only it be their own. The whole thing be only lies. Now look you here. You come here, stranger, and you see this Kirk Garth." I nodded, for I thought it better to assent, though I did not quite understand his dialect.